Hello everyone, I'm Wes.
And I'm Matt, and welcome to another edition of Riffing Religion, where today, for the first time, we're going to try to sit through an entire feature-length Christian film.
So anyways...
Scary.
Yeah. But anyways, if footmen tire you, what will horses do?
What? I don't even understand your question, dude.
Neither do I, actually. And neither does the director of today's film, Ron Ormond. But that's the title of the film.
It's a horrible fucking name for a movie. That's worse than Transformers Dark of the Moon.
Well, it does at least give us a taste for what's in store with this film.
Yeah, what kind of taste is that?
The taste of shit. Specifically, you ever been taking a shit and you're straining as hard as you can trying to get this out, and it's a whole lot of work, but by the time you get to the end of it, you're just like, that disappointed me. I was expecting more from that shit.
Yeah, I don't normally discuss my bowel movements in public.
Well, anyways, it's that kind of shit. It's shit that fails at being shit. It's shit that can't even live up to the standards of shit. It's shit that's so shitty that shit looks at it and says, oh, well, compared to that, I'm proud to be shit.
Is that your shit voice?
Yes, that's how shit talks in my world.
Howdy ho! So anyway, tell me about this piece of shit. What's going on here?
Well, the director was just your typical B-movie director in the late 60s. Ron Ormond directed movies like Please Don't Touch Me, which is about a woman who is afraid of having sex. And also The Monster and the Stripper, which is about, well, I guess I don't have to tell you what The Monster and the Stripper is about.
Let's watch those movies, dude.
They're not about Jesus. I mean, shut up. Anyways, so he was also an amateur aviator, and with his family survived not one but 2 plane crashes.
It's a miracle.
Exactly. Ooh. And so he decided that he needed to devote his life and his movie career to Jesus.
Never mind that by that logic, God murders anybody who doesn't miraculously survive a fucking plane crash.
Well, who cares? Fuck them, they're dead. I can't say anything about it.
Yeah, fuck them.
So anyways, he was involved in the country music scene in Nashville.
So he fucked his sister.
Yeah, had a lot of connections in the South. And went out looking for the most country-fried preacher he could to join him in making his Jesus movies. And let me just let you guess. Just guess what this preacher's name is.
Let me think, okay? He's Southern-fried preacher. Estes W. Perkle?
Yes. Estes W. Perkle.
Dude, I just made that shit up. Really?
Well, I shit you not, that is his name. He was a minister from Mississippi, was looking for someone to take his sermon, If Footmen Tire You, What Will Horses Do, and turn it into a movie.
Well, that's better than a Milton Bradley board game, at least.
True. And the end result is some of the most insane godsploitation ever made.
Yes! Well, you know, in my book, Jesus plus gratuitous B-movie violence equals pure awesome!
Especially when that B-movie violence is all aimed at convincing us that only Jesus can save us from the evil, dirty communists. Which is why we have our banner here today. So anyways, let's get into this movie.
Hell yeah. Because you know what? In Soviet Russia, bad movie riffs on you!
Estrus pickle? It's disgusting.
Maybe it's a really fucked up tampon.
I don't know, Wilbur.
Wes, you were in this?
It was a dark time in my life. Is there gonna be a movie anytime soon?
Well, it's still better than the intro to Manos Hands of Fate.
I guess if footmen tire you, horses are just gonna do nothing.
Not very threatening, dude.
And why would the footmen make me tired? Aren't they the ones supposed to be doing all the walking?
Yeah, lazy asses, that's false advertisement.
And the rest.
Who would prefer not to be mentioned in this picture?
In later versions, they changed it to the Professor and Marianne.
Don't go charging in there, that's poison oak! Oh, never mind.
Hey y'all, welcome to the Beulah Baptist Church.
We's having us a potluck and I cooked me up a squirrel. Mmm, that's good critter.
Seabiscuit is in the lead, but oh, Tony Maguire fell off his horse. He's not going to feel pain like this again till Spider-Man 3.
An angry posse rides into town for the hanging of Joe Quesada for one more day.
Reverend Perkle, are the pictures we are about to see true facts, or are they figments of your imagination?
I can document every statement that I make in this film.
By document, I mean
All
repeat
of the
some bullshit I heard.
reenactments are taken from actual events that have happened in Russia, Korea, China, and Cuba.
Yeah, 'cause I just
where
bet
the
you were
communists have
there.
already taken over. The only difference is that we're using Americans to emphasize that the same thing can and will happen here if they take over.
If a black socialist Kenyan Muslim is ever elected president.
America! Fuck no! Communists came and fucked our motherfucking day up!
Like the horses in the book of Revelation trample down God's enemies. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Estes Perkle.
I'm Jim Tressel, and I'd like to sell
What do you
you
think
my
about the
vest.
future of our country? Are you alarmed about the increased crime rate in all of our cities? Does the killing
Are you
of
worried
policemen
about the
and judges
increase in
nearly
horn-rimmed
every
glasses?
major city disturb you? What about the riots?
An elderly
that break out
Harley
on our
Quinn
college
marries the
campuses
Candy Man.
nearly every
While a
week?
female
Do you think
Napoleon
that this is
Dynamite
just
looks
the younger
on in
generation
sheer
coming of
boredom.
age?
God, I'm
Times
sitting
will
next to
soon be
Alfred E.
better.
Newman.
If this is your feeling, I'm afraid you're in for a rude awakening.
I'm gonna give you a
Things
Dutch
that are
oven.
happening in America today are like a Sunday school picnic compared to that which will take place within the next 24 months unless revival breaks out in our country.
Look out! Revival is on the loose!
Squirting people with ketchup.
The lunch hour
Are
holocaust.
going to see hundreds of dead bodies on the streets of your hometown. We are engaged in a tremendously important race.
Dun 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 dun, communism!
Whoever wins this race will have dominion over our children, our homes, and our churches. Are you tired
Let's
of
get out of this
running
movie while we still
against
can.
powerful
Ah, not so fast,
about ready to
capitalist
give up?
running dogs.
If so, then
At
what
Footmen
will
Tire You,
do
what
when
will bad
communism
directors
enters the
do?
race? It too has great plans for your children, your home, and your church. In the days of Jeremiah, 2,500 years ago, God's chosen people of Israel were going down the road of life as if everything were all right. Although
Nothing
God's
bad will
prophets
ever
repeatedly
happen
warned
to
them
us
resist the
Jews.
evils of their day. They paid no attention to them until suddenly disaster came. They were invaded
Help, it's
by
the ghost of
Babylonian
Rudy
soldiers who
Valentino.
beat them and enslaved them and left their homes in ruins. Their temple was destroyed. Hundreds of thousands were killed, and the rest were carried as slaves to far-off Babylon.
Babylon?
In like
Babylon?
manner,
Where
many
is
people
this
in America
Babylon?
today
It's
are
from
walking
Baghdad.
down the journeys of this life, unmindful of the present turbulence or the dangers
Oh,
that
a
lie
little
ahead of them.
turbulence in Babylon.
It seems as
Doesn't
if
have the
they will
same
not
ring
realize
as bombs
until
over Baghdad.
communism
You mean
marches
Baghdad?
up behind them and runs them down. When communism comes, these people will make a run for their lives.
Ah,
and
in
attempt to
communist
escape.
Russia, sin
They'll put up a good
baptizes
fight,
you.
but it'll be too late. They'll not be able to defend themselves from these terrible, ruthless killers.
All right, it's
who
Adult
will
Swim.
not
Everyone
stop
in the
until
pool.
they
We're gonna have
trample
fun,
them down
goddammit.
beneath their powerful heels. Furthermore, their children will be helpless victims in their hands. Communists do not regard the lives of boys and girls any more than the lives of their parents.
Marco
They'll be
Polo's
under
really easy with a
constant pressure
horse.
to yield to their
Marco!
atheist
Wilbur!
demands. If they refuse to yield, they too must be liquidated. Do these things seem far-fetched to you? You live in
Yeah.
Russia or China or Cuba, they would not seem so. The citizens of these
Sharpay
countries
and
for
her
many
incestuous
years
brother
have
from
felt
the
the
High
iron
School
heel of
Musical seem to
communism upon
agree.
their daily lives. And unless we have some rapid changes in our country, our easygoing life of 40 hours a week workload and 2 or 3 weeks of paid vacation a year will soon be over.
Yeah, the
too
communists
will
want
be
to
on
take
the
away
same
our
schedule
socialist
of every
labor
communist
reforms.
nation
Oh, they
on Earth.
hate that
You will be
shit.
at work by 5 o'clock in the morning. You'll work until 8 o'clock at night. You'll be forced to work under armed guards continually. You won't work 5
Oh,
days a
so
week.
it's like working
You
at
won't work 6
Walmart.
days a week. Instead, you'll work 7 days a week,
8
363
days a
days
week.
out of the year. You'll only have 2 days a year off. Those 2 days
That'll
will
be
used
Arbor
to
Day
praise the
and Talk Like a
communist
Pirate
takeover.
Day.
Time will weigh heavy upon you, and the hands of the clock will seem to stand still.
Oh, fucking
Even
Marty
heavier on your
McFly.
heart will be the memory of seeing children lying dead in the streets.
In communist Russia, a Slim
Who
Jim
are these
snaps into
children?
you.
They are Christian boys and girls who refuse to give up their faith in Christ. Had they
When
yielded to
Duck,
demands
Duck,
to become
Goose
atheistic
goes
communists,
horribly wrong.
they could have lived. Yet because they chose to remain steadfast to Jesus Christ, they had to be annihilated to keep them from contaminating the minds of other boys and girls.
These Gap Kids commercials are
Perhaps you're
getting
saying,
weird.
I would not permit this kind of thing to happen. How could you stop it from happening?
You could ban ketchup.
If you try
From
to
now on,
interfere,
only
they'll
catsup.
shoot you down like clay pigeons.
Yeah, because clay pigeons kneel carefully when you shoot them.
pick me up after services, you hear? Keep telling you I've got to keep up my image.
Yeah, you
know,
hear,
be seen in
see?
the proper places.
Oh, baby, it's so hot when you
I'll be
deliver
here, baby.
expositional
Sure you don't want to come
dialogue.
in?
Not on your life, baby. I'm a lover, not a Christian.
That's funny because Christians promote hatred against gays. Jesus, I think that guy has his own personal ozone hole.
Your own personal ozone hole. Someone whose UV rays bombard you for days.
I hope Jesus likes my hair.
As long as your hair's not a fag.
Disobedient to parents, proud, murderers, rapists, traitors, and
Oh,
many
did I
other
come in
such
at a bad
things.
time?
Yet
Turn
the Bible
down
also
the
says that something else is to occur in
lights.
the last days. The 5th chapter of James tells us that God's going to send revival.
You know what?
Before
Fuck
Jesus
revival. You
comes
start
back
talking about
again.
revival, and you
Thank God,
get
this
this
thought
picture
thrilled my
of
very
this
soul.
tank full of Southern fried
You too
hicks who
have the
fuck their
possibility
sisters,
of being in on
praise
it.
Jesus Sunday
Although
morning, and then
God
go home and
promised to send
beat
the
their
latter
wife
rains
and
in the latter
kids.
days,
Fuck
He
that.
has not promised to send it to America. This
'Cause
is the
God's
thing
a
that
commie
concerns
Muslim
me.
terrorist.
I'd like to see our country in on the latter rains. But unless you and I do what God wants us to do, he'll go to some other country.
Like
I'm disturbed
Latveria.
about the
Dr.
brand of
Doom would
Christianity
kick
I see
Jesus'
in this modern
ass.
20th century in our country. We see some strange young people in our land today.
Well, stop
Mothers
watching
and
Jersey
daddies,
Shore.
what do you want from your
Yeah,
young
this
people?
guy is probably just
no doubt
talking
every
about
one of
the
you listening to me
Jeffersons.
today would say, preacher, more than anything else, I want my son or daughter saved by the grace of God. If that takes place,
Well, I
it'll
could
be in
have
spite of
said a
bunch of
fulfilling
footmen
career,
that are running
meaningful
loose against your
relationship.
sons and
Independent
daughters.
thinking.
You say,
But,
preacher,
yeah,
I
saved
want
by the
my
grace of
son or
God
daughter
works,
to
I
come to
guess.
the marriage altar, pure and virtuous.
Virtuous?
I want my
Oh,
son or
hell
daughter to have
no.
something to
Is that
live
Emily
for and
Dickinson
something
in the
to
pew
die for.
behind her there?
If these ambitions are reached today, you're going to have to fight against a bunch of footmen that are running loose
The
against
Foot
our
Clan
young
is
people.
attacking.
Call Teenage Mutant Ninja Jesus. Your shoulder is so footman-like.
How'd they manage to
We've got
wash out the
footmen
colors in
running
a
loose
dark
today
scene?
that have not been running loose in a generation gone
Is
by.
that Mrs. Frankenstein
We'll see
sitting
some
on
of
the
them in
left?
just a moment.
Frankenstein.
But I see some strange young men and young women today. I see
calling us
strange people
strange?
coming to churches
Is my face
across the
getting
land. Not
pudgier?
long ago, I stood up to preach in a certain congregation. A young lady stood up to sing, and she got catcalls from all over the house. You know why? She was dressed in a miniskirt 12 inches above her knees.
So that's her
But what
fault?
was she
Yeah,
saying?
blame
She was
sexual
saying,
harassment
"I'll
on the
tell
victim."
world
Hey,
that
I
I'm
know,
a
let's just
Christian."
put the bitch in a
It's a strange
burqa.
thing that a young lady should dress like the world and stand up and tell the world that I'm a Christian.
hair tastes
when you
kinda
get saved by
funky.
the grace of God, it means a major change takes place in your life. But we can't blame these young people for what's going on today and let the adults go free.
The
They're
adults will be
strangers
forced into
because we
hard
have refused
labor.
to get out and run against the things that the young people are having to face.
Like
Mother and Daddy,
footmen.
are you willing to let your children be destroyed in the
sure.
midst
Yeah.
of this generation when you could do something about it? We're running against
Yeah,
the
just 'cause I
strong
can doesn't
footmen
mean I
in the
will.
way of our public school system today. When my daddy went to school in North Georgia in the early 1900s, they did not have all of the facilities that we have in our modern schools.
And by facilities,
They
I mean
played games
black
that were
people.
simple, like drop the handkerchief. And yet they did not feel shortchanged. They enjoyed
Because
it.
they were stupid.
Inside that old rundown schoolhouse, they excelled us by a city block. There they studied a masterpiece of a book, the McGuffey
Dianetics.
Reader. In the McGuffey Readers, our parents were not only taught to read, they were taught character. Virtues taught to my father at home and church were taught in the McGuffey Reader.
And stored in
Such
this
is not the
woman's
case.
hair.
Because
many of the
publicly
present-day
funded schools
classrooms.
should be
Many
teaching
modern
morals and
teachers
religion.
think it more necessary to teach sex than the 3 R's.
Boys and girls, as I have discussed with you many times before, I personally believe
And my
that
mustache
premarital
indicates I do a
sex
lot
is
of
necessary.
discussing with children.
And now,
Teacher,
we will go
why
on to
does the
discuss
lady's boobie look
7
like a
erotic
shark
zones of
fin?
passion in every woman. The first one is
And they go on
Wait,
to
don't
teach
cut away when
these
it's getting
things.
interesting.
Oh,
Another